Hello, yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Very
We are
good.
glad that you are here. Stage is
Thank
yours.
you. Dziękuję. Dzień dobry, everybody. Thanks for inviting me to speak. I'm Michael Horgan from the Skills Directorate in Digi Employment in the European Commission, and I work in the VET unit particularly, but particularly on skills for the twin transition, so digital and green skills. And I'm going to basically talk about two things. First, about the digitalization of education and training, particularly VET, and then go on to talk a little bit about what we're doing on digital skills in the EU. So let me see if my magical internet clicker works to go to the next slide, and it does seem to indeed. So first of all, let me talk a little bit about the digitalization of education and training a bit more generally. Digitalization offers a lot of opportunities like increased accessibility to access to education and training from anywhere with a stable connection, of course. But it also offers possibilities in personalized learning experience tailored to individual learners' skills and students' needs. It gives the possibility of increased engagement and motivation. But as the previous speaker interestingly said, it depends also on the particular learner. It gives digitalization gives possibilities of scalability. Modules can be enormously scaled up, and then it can be more cost effective. So it can reduce costs of, for instance, textbooks, travel, and so on. And also, as the last speaker was talking a lot about, it can provide immediate feedback, assessment, and track progress of individual learners. But on the other hand, there are many challenges. Not all students have access to digital technologies. Teachers need to be really brought up to speed on the skills requirements to use digitalization. There are certain cybersecurity issues, of course, as well. Students giving their learners giving their data. Then there are problems, of course, equity and inclusion, and risks of exclusion. Also, depersonalization, because of course, digital learning can lack the face-to-face interaction, which also the last speaker talked a lot about. Then, of course, you can have glitches, technical issues, and so on. And the need for quality control remains extremely important, of course, when using digitalized learning. Um, so let me say a few words particularly about the digitalization in VET and how to and understanding it. I think we have a lot more work and research to do to fully understand the implications. And so VET, I would say, is particularly exposed to digital challenges due to its proximity to the digitalization of the labor market that we are seeing. And changes in the workplace are really the main drivers of digitalization in VET. Also, we see that technologies like XR, simulation, augmented and virtual reality are bridging the gap between school-based and practical learning. And I would say there are two real aspects about digitalization of VET. One is using the digital tools for the learning, but then it's also about learning to use the digital technologies that are increasingly being used in industry. And this a bit mirrors the two topics that I'm going to speak about. I'm speaking about today. So let me go on to a little bit more detail on the emerging technologies and trends that we see in education and learning, but also in VET. There are a lot of potential, as I said, but I think we need to know more. We need to know more about the advantages and the disadvantages that I mentioned. And our colleagues in the Joint Research Centre in Sevilla and in the Commission have been doing a lot of work and looking at the major trends with regard to technology in learning. And they have come up basically with six major trends. One is the next internet, so 6G. With 6G, we will see more and more the physical and virtual worlds kind of merging, and this will potentially transform that through immersive technology and technology-mediated experiences and enhance greatly hands-on learning and simulations. We'll see a whole new paradigm of synchronization increasingly between the physical and the digital. Then, of course, we have I've mentioned them before, the XR, the extended reality, which gives us learning experiences that can provide many advantages, particularly with regard to providing safe and cost effective and engaging learning opportunities. So, for instance, You can simulate, for example, students who have to learn how to work at high altitude on electricity pylons, or simulate the use of dangerous tools in a safe environment. Then increasingly, we have, of course, datification, which is extremely useful for learning analytics, and so on. And the increasing amount of data offers opportunities for personalized learning paths in VET. But of course, we have to consider that it raises also ethical concerns regarding data privacy, and needs careful regulation, which we are very concerned about in our whole approach to AI in Europe. From now on, I think I'm going to talk more a little bit about AI specifically, because that's what we are working a lot on at present. So, as I said, AI technology, like other technologies, it's a transformative technology, but as with everything, and all technology has challenges and opportunities. I think I would say that the vet world has to take now a more proactive approach to the integration of AI in vet, because up to now there's been a rather reactive approach, and I think instead of just riding the wave, we need to be more proactive. We also need more evidence, and we are launching some work and studies at the EU level on AI and its use in vet. So I think we need more information and knowledge, and about the potential impact on learners as well as teachers. And I think one important thing about AI in use in vet is that it will really strongly impact on the relation between teachers and learners, and it's really crucial to reflect about the necessary roles and competences of teachers in the future, and this will imply some significant adaptation on the part of vet institutions. So, what are the pros and cons of AI? I've looked a bit more generally about the pros and cons of digitalization, but in AI, as we've seen, it has great potential for personalized learning and analytics, and therefore can be very useful also to teachers. AI could offer continuous support to learning in a way which really, I think, simulation and VR and virtual reality and so on they're not. AI can be a constant accompaniment. Well, this is a bit less the case in this the virtual technologies. It has also a lot of potential as a tool for curriculum development. So curricula could be adapted faster, potentially, to the labour market needs. And it also can perhaps help with content creation and updating content creation faster and more effectively. And it could also, as the previous speaker I think mentioned, could allow teachers to spend more time with, say, problem pupils than they can currently. And it will have a big impact, as I said before, on the impact, the relations between teachers and learners. But of course, there are the challenges. On the one hand, teachers are struggling to know how to use AI effectively, and this will be a major challenge. And the complexity of AI and its rapid pace of development means that teachers will need support to develop capabilities on using AI. And AI also has its unknowns, its challenges in terms of understanding the decisions AI makes. We don't know really how the algorithm is coming to certain judgments, and so these are things that we need to be really careful of, avoiding bias, as also the last speaker mentioned. And in the meantime, of course, learners are increasingly using ChatGPT and all kinds of AI tools on a daily basis, which will also change their learning habits. I'd like to say a word now about our agency in Thessaloniki has done recently an AI skills survey to look at some insights into the use of AI and work and the competency gaps and how things are going with regard to AI. So 40 Cent, they interviewed between 5,000 and 6,000 employees, and they found that 28% of adult workers are already using AI technologies to do their jobs. But 61% believe that they will need more knowledge and more skills very soon to cope with the impact of AI tools. But surprisingly, a lot of them think that their companies will not help them with this. And only 15% of adult workers have actually participated in training to develop their knowledge on using AI tools in work in the last year. So this really means that we have a massive upskilling challenge, and tools will be needed to provide AI at all education levels in VET. And one thing slightly worryingly that this survey showed is that there is already the risk of an AI divide in Europe. We see that in some countries like Belgium, Germany, and France, many people are already using AI. So more than a quarter or even a third of workers are using it already, while in some southern countries like Greece and Spain, and even in Poland, the use of AI in employment is a little less than in some other countries. So this is really something we have to keep an eye on, because we don't want to exacerbate the digital divide that we have already seen. We don't want the AI divide to exacerbate the digital divide. So we are doing some work here in the EU. We're starting to work with the JRC, our Joint Research Centre, on research on how AI is being used in vet delivery. That's a strand of work. And then also we're looking, there we are looking at many examples of how AI is being used in personal tutoring systems, assessment, career guidance, and so on. Then we are going to launch some work with the OECD on leveraging AI to improve labour market relevance. So with regard to curricula, as I mentioned earlier. And we're also looking at how AI can be used, AI and other assistive technologies can support vet students and learners with learning disabilities. So for instance, people with neurodiversity issues, ADHD and autism, because there could be many opportunities for really customizing learning to such specific learner needs. So we're really beginning to look at that closely. So I've been talking up to now about the issue really of digitalization and use of AI in vet, but now I'd like to also talk a bit about the provision of digital skills in education and training. Firstly, I'll quickly mention some of the main gaps we have with regard to digital skills more generally, but also in vet, and talk a little bit about our policy framework and some of the tools we have developed at European level to deal with this. So firstly, a little bit, let's talk about the challenges. As we know now, more than 90% of jobs require digital skills, and this is the reality. But on the other hand, we see that we have a real challenge in Europe, because only 56% of the adult population in Europe has the basic digital skills, without which you cannot survive. So we are aiming for 80%. Then we see that the lack of staff, over 60% of enterprises said that they have a lack of staff with adequate digital skills, and this is an obstacle to investment and integration of digital technology in their companies. Then we have still a challenge with regard to ICT specialists and digital experts. We have at present only 9.8 million ICT specialists, and we would need 20 million to really make use of the potential of digitalization. And so we would need to really accelerate on getting more ICT professionals in Europe, including AI and specialists in emerging technologies. And we would like to have a gender to really include more women as far as possible. Another issue that we have at European level is a huge difference between member states. Some countries like the Netherlands and Finland have already reached our 2030 target, while others have under 40% of the population with adequate and digital skills. So we have, of course, a huge range. We have been working in this last commission. We've been working a lot with many initiatives such as the Skills Agenda and the Digital Education Action Plan, with many concrete measures to support the development of digital skills. And this is all being monitored by the Digital Decade process, and the digital compass, which is trying to monitor our progress towards those two targets that you see on the right of the slide: 80% of the population with at least basic digital skills and 20 million ICT professionals. Also, the amount of funding has been unprecedented. For instance, from the Recovery and Resilience Facility, we've seen that 23 billion euro has been spent on digital skills and education alone. And also the European Social Fund Plus has dedicated at least 2 billion exclusively to support the development of digital skills. So just to talk about some of the relevant policy initiatives. Of course, in the VET world, we have the VET recommendation and the Osnabrück Declaration, which were really focusing on modernizing VET and making it a key driver for the digital and green transition. So VET, in this sense, has really been trying to come to terms with the digitalization imperative. And the VET role in providing digital skills is extremely important. Then I think two other council recommendations, initiatives that we've launched are with regard to micro-credentials and individual learning, which I think both play a very big role in digital upskilling, because micro-credentials are very often used as a valuable tool, particularly for digital upskilling. And of course, individual learning accounts give people an opportunity to upskill, to engage in lifelong learning in a way that is relevant to their overall career. So with regard to digital skills particularly. Two other very important initiatives that we've launched are the Pact for Skills, which is under the Skills Agenda for Europe. And so it brings really multi-stakeholder sectoral partnerships together in all the 14 industrial ecosystems. And there's one particular large partnership on the digital ecosystem, which will contribute to upskilling and reskilling of workers and attract more people to the digital industry, which I said is an important imperative. But I would, of course, digital upskilling is relevant to all the large-scale partnerships under the Pact for Skills. Then we have the Digital Skills and Jobs platform, which is presenting a lot of information about many initiatives by education providers, social partners, member states, big tech, and so on upskilling. So particularly by making pledges to increase the amount of digital upskilling in the EU. One particular in the VET world, one particular initiative which I would really emphasize is the Centers for Vocational Excellence, which really also bring together this triangle of VET world and business and industry and research and development. And there are, while of course digital skills and emerging technologies are relevant to many of these coves, as we call them, there are some which are particularly involved in digital skills, high-end digital skills, and emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and so on, like the ULEP Cove. And then there's one AI for VET for AI, which is really specialized on providing innovative teaching material for VET curricula and providing more materials to achieve our goal in closing the skills gap throughout Europe. Then, of course, I would really need to mention the Digital Education Action Plan, which really tries to improve the provision of digital skills and competences in education training across the board, from early education to formal to, of course, VET. And it aims, secondly, to enhance the use of digital technologies, including AI. It has two major priorities: one, to foster the development of high-performing digital education ecosystem, and secondly, to enhance digital skills and competences more generally for the digital transformation. So maybe to talk about some of the important recommendations that we've made under the DEAP, as we call it. Firstly, we have this CR, which on key enablers in digital education to improve connectivity, equipment, teacher digital pedagogy, and assistive technologies such as AI. And this really is an attempt to try to encourage the member states to provide universal access to digital education, irrespective of socioeconomic status, or whether people are in a rural or urban environment, because we have this rural-urban divide with regard to digital education. Then, secondly, we have this Council recommendation on improving the provision of digital skills in education and training throughout. So, from all the sectors, primary, secondary, and of course, vet and adult learning. And in the vet, particularly, there is a recommendation to member states to strengthen the provision of high-end digital skills to encourage vet students to acquire advanced and specialist digital skills that are increasingly required by vocational profiles. Then we also want to increase vet offering in terms of AI, cybersecurity, software development, and so on, and also support vet students in the acquiring skills for the use of immersive technologies such as virtual reality, augmented reality, and so on. So we also, I will mention the Digital Europe program, which is particularly aimed at upskilling in terms of high-level, high-end digital skills. So that it will contribute to the target I mentioned earlier of arriving at 20 million ICT experts by 2030. And increasingly, with our colleagues in DG Connect in the Commission, who run this program, we are working to really ensure that vet stakeholders and vet players increasingly participate. And in the recent call, the recent call in November was very much open and we were trying to ensure very much that vet stakeholders would participate in the delivery of advanced skills in areas like virtual worlds, robotics, and so on. Maybe just to finish my last few slides, I will talk now about our tools, some of the tools that we have developed at European level. So we have a very important tool is the Digital Competence Framework, which provides a framework for understanding of digital skills, what they are, but also has been used by many member states and regions to frame digital policy, curriculum development, and for assessment of digital skills in education, in all education and training contexts, including, of course, vet. So we have also at European level developed DigSat. It's an assessment tool on digital skills, which I think is very useful. DigComp has 5 areas, so it's very comprehensive. It covers everything from content creation to safety to interacting in a digital world. And we have recently, in 2022, we updated DigComp to take account of new emerging technologies like AI and so on. And DigComp can really be used by also by education institutions and training institutions, including vet institutions, to update curricula and assessment of digital skills. As I said, we are now working on the next update of DigComp to further integrate AI systems and new technologies into the framework. Another tool that we've developed in the same family, but I think a very useful tool. It looks it's the selfie tool. It looks rather at the institution rather than the individual, as DigComp does. So it really looks at asking people, those working, both learners and teachers and leaders of institutions, questions in these 8 different areas that I have on this slide. And the idea is really to give a snapshot of how digitally ready the institution is for the current needs. And it is open to all schools in whatever sector, is available in 40 languages, customizable, and is being used in 83 countries, in fact, with between 5 and 6 million users. We have also developed for VET a new module called Selfie for Work-Based Learning, Selfie WBL. And this module gathers not only information and answers from teachers and learners in an institution, but also from in-company trainers who, of course, are a very vital part of the providing training in the vet context. So this is more this tool is more on sort of digitalization of education and training, which is the first topic that I was talking about. So it's a very important tool which we have recently also developed a set of guidelines for more effective use of the tool. So these guidelines are now available online since several weeks, and we hope they're very useful. We worked on them with the Joint Research Centre, and we hope that they are very useful in supporting vet institutions and training companies to reflect and act upon the use of an integration of digital technologies like AI in the training processes. So we really hope that these new guidelines will be useful. So I'm nearly coming to the end of my presentation. So I hope it was useful. I was really trying to, first of all, present two topics. One is really the digitalization and the increased importance of the use of emerging technologies like AI, XR, and so on, and the increased datification. And then the second part, I was really talking about skills and how we are working on digital upskilling in various contexts of education and training and the labour market in the EU. So I see, to my surprise, I'm about just over 1 minute within time, so that's very good. I'd like to thank you all for your attention. Dziękuję.
Thank you very much for your interesting speech. Czy Państwo mają jakieś pytania? Czy chcieliby o coś zapytać naszego eksperta, uzupełnić?
Are there any questions from the floor?
Dobrze, to jest tutaj, poprosimy o mikrofon w takim razie dla Pani.
Okay, there is one person.
Chciałam dopytać, upewnić się, czy publikacje, ta ostatnia publikacja, która była
I have a question.
Ona jest
The last
tłumaczona także na język
publication you have mentioned.
Tak, na język polski.
Is it also available in Polish? Because you said that this tool was available in 24 languages.
Było to tłumaczenie, tak?
So it is translated, isn't it? I just wanted you to confirm.
No, I didn't hear a translation, I'm afraid, of the question.
I will ask in English.
Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. Yes, of course. I would like to ask if it's true that this last publication that you shared with us, this is online, but this is also translated into Polish, if I'm not mistaken, yes? Is it true? This work-based learning guidance.
For the moment, I'm not sure that there's a Polish translation, but I will check on the plans for that with the JRC, and I'm very happy to get back to you about it. For the moment, I've only seen the English version, but I will very happy to get back to you, and it's a very, very important question. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think it will be much appreciated if it was in Polish, of course, but still, if it's in English, using AI, it's quite easy now to translate it still.
Indeed, but I'm very happy to get back to you if you send your contact, and I will talk to our colleagues in the JRC about that. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for your inspiring speech. Thank you.
Thanks. Dziękuję.
Thank you, Michael. This is also speaking again. Thanks a lot for this interesting presentation and seeing the scope of the tools that you've just presented. Would you be so kind just to put a little bit more of your, own insight? What do you think? What do you think the future of the AI in the education, including European labor market, as you as you feel it, living a hard reality a little bit aside and going a little bit into the virtual, the suppositions. You may just open a little bit on your personal reflection. It would be much appreciated, if possible. Thank you.
Oh yes, thank you. That's a very good question. Very very important. I think firstly that we have seen, of course, with machine learning, massive progress recently, and we're now all very aware of AI. So we're a little bit trying to catch up in a sense, and because we know that AI will have a huge impact on our lives, and we know that. We see already in this AI survey that I presented by Cedefop that many workers are becoming not only specialists, people who are working on machine learning and natural language processing and so on, but many workers, in fact, nearly all workers will have to develop some skills to accompany AI, because they will be directly interacting at work, even really across most employment areas. So they will need some skills to at least know what AI is doing, what it doesn't do, know how to be also protect themselves, to be careful with data and so on. So I think we're a little bit at the beginning in that sense. And with regard to the impact of AI on learning, on education, we know that we can see that there are huge opportunities, many of which I was talking about earlier, but we see also that there are huge threats. There are things that we really need to be careful about. And I think in the EU we are very well set up, because we have tended to go to a risk-based approach. And as you know, in the work done by the Commission on the AI Act, which is the first really act which addresses AI in a sort of a comprehensive way. Education and training, including VET, has been named as one of the areas that could be high risk. So we have to always keep that in mind with our in our approach to AI in education and training. But on the other hand, like I said, I think if we use AI well, there are huge opportunities. We can really customize learning to needs of learners, even including those with real learning issues and learning disabilities. We can also use AI to really monitor progress and adapt learning as we go along, almost in real time, to the teachers, to the learners' needs and their progress. I also have been dabbling with Duolingo and as the previous speaker, and I find it very motivating, actually. But as was said, it may not be motivating to everybody. So I think we really need more evidence also with regard to what are the positive aspects of learning using AI, and how far they are positive, and are there any disadvantages, and indeed how to blend, how to balance the use of AI tools and technology with the use of direct face-to-face learning. I think that's one of the big challenges we have. We will need to find the right balance, because it's not a question of just using AI because it's there and because it's very powerful. We need to really use it in the correct and balanced way. So I hope that's at least some sort of an answer. Thank you.